Joining us this morning is Tara Peterson with Crenshaw Peterson and Associates, PC. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Let's talk about estate plans. So we have one. It's all done, signed and sealed. What do we do with it?
Yeah, so the next step is funding. So it's so important. Once we get the will signed, once we get the trust signed, the power of attorney signed, we have to get all of our assets into that estate plan. And that process is called funding. And the way that we do that is by changing beneficiaries, changing ownership. So depending on what the estate plan is that we set up, we might change the ownership of our bank accounts, we might change the beneficiaries on our life insurance and our retirement funds. We're gonna need to do the deeds to our property, make sure those all match up with the estate plan. Because the problem that we can run into is that titling always trumps the estate plan. So on one hand, if I have the beneficiary on my account as my mom, because she's gonna take my kids if something happens, and then my estate plan says my sister takes my kids if something happens, my estate plan is worthless because I have my mom as the beneficiary. So they don't match up. So we want to make sure everything matches up, and that's the funding process.
And that's where people get into trouble, I bet.
That's where people get into trouble. Yeah, they forget, once they get it signed, they're like, oh, I'm done, and they're not.
Yeah, so what else do we need to do when it comes to estate plans?
So updating is really the next thing. So a lot of people sort of view estate plans as one and done, right? I've done it, we're good, I funded it even, and they'll never look at it again. And unfortunately, we have law changes and we have societal shifts. So think about, 10, 15 years ago, where did we keep all of our photos? In a big box, right? They were all printed photos and we kept them in a box. Now, a lot of people have them online. And so our documents need to reflect that if something happens to us, our family can get into those online companies and pull those photos out so the family photos aren't lost. So all the documents need to shift along with those legal changes.
So with law changes, I understand that would be one way that would make us want to change our plans, but there's so many other things too you've got to think about, right? So many other
things, yes. So retirement, sometimes at retirement, it's a good, any kind of life event, but retirement's a good one. Make sure that everything still lines up the way we want it to. Anytime you add a family member, whether a kid or a grandkid, we want to make sure we still like who your beneficiaries are, any health issues we want to make sure we address, making sure everyone's still healthy that you've put in charge.
All good advice, and I know that you have a special going on. You get 10% off through August for teachers, right? If teachers call you. So
yes.
10% off through September when signing their estate plan. 347-2100, Tara Peterson, thank you.
Thank you.